It is no secret today that democracy is under attack, evidenced by the ascendancy of the far right, attacks on institutions like Harvard, and because of growing distrust in democracy. In fact, according to the Democratic Knowledge Project, less than 30% of young Americans believe it's necessary to live in a democracy. Today, we can see these trends especially play out in American politics, in which we've seen rural white working class voters, it's been taken for granted that they've become stalwart supporters of the Republican Party. To explain these shifts, pundits have argued that geography is a guarantee, demographics are destiny. But what if this doesn't have to be the case? What if it's still possible for Democrats to win rural white working class voters? My thesis examines the puzzling case of the Kitsap and Olympic Peninsulas of rural Western Washington from 1976 to 2024, which has seen Democrats consistently win across all levels of government despite national trends of political realignment. My thesis asks why this is the case, and asks what can this case study tell us of how local forces can preserve liberal democracy for the future? To answer this question, I analyzed 13 different archives, interviewed 82 community members, attended community institutions, and then also explored quantitative data across census data, archival data, campaign finance data, and other forms of data. In doing so, my research finds that the pundits are wrong, demographics are not destiny, geography is not a guarantee. Instead, I find that there are three main factors that help to explain Democratic Party resilience. First, Democrats have recruited and trained high-quality local candidates who have a firm understanding of their communities. In doing so, improving representation and community trust in Democrats because voters can see themselves reflected in their elected officials. Second, preserving liberal community institutions like organized labor have allowed rural white working class voters to preserve their traditional social fabrics and community identities, which includes being Democrats. By contrast, conservative community institutions like NRA gun clubs have not established a strong presence in the region. In doing so, allowing voters to continue socializing in predominantly liberal spaces. Third, a highly collaborative political organizational network has allowed liberals to get out the vote more effectively than Republicans. Republicans have not established strong collaborative organizational networks. They often fight with each other. Liberals, on the other hand, have involved organizations that work together on issues like policy research and voter outreach, which allows them to get out the vote more effectively. In doing so, all of these forces together have allowed Democrats to win rural white working class voters in rural Western Washington. And as such, my thesis suggests that local forces continue to matter in politics and that Democrats can still win rural white working class voters by investing in local forces. By investing in local forces in politics, we can revitalize trust, equitable participation, and pro-democratic forces in politics. Thank you.